Olatila Show at it again. We have finally been lucky to get another big fish in our net today. The outgoing ambassador of the United States in Nigeria, Mr. Jetta. He's been on tour of duty here in the last 2.5 years. It's time to say goodbye to him, and we thought of a way to do our parting gift to him. And we thought of a program like this that you will cherish for a long time to come. He's been a moving force behind all the achievements that the United States and Nigeria has recorded in the last 2.5 years. And we thought the way to send him off, send him forth, is a thing like this. We're happy to have him, Your Excellency.
And I'm happy to be here.
My pleasure to have you, sir.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
So, you've been in Nigeria for the past 2.5 years.
Yes.
I'd like you to look at Nigeria and your stay here, the high and low moments. How would you summarize your stay here, to start with?
Well, when I came to Nigeria, I think I verbalized publicly that this had been my real career goal, to be ambassador to Nigeria. It was a personal ambition, it was a professional ambition, and it's proven to be everything I thought it would be. Nigeria is such an important place, and it's such a dynamic place. And what we've seen since 1999 is the consolidation of your democracy. And I think that there could have not been a more special time to be in this country than right now. And the past 2.5 years have been absolutely marvelous. I've enjoyed every moment of it.
What would you miss most about Nigerians and Nigeria?
The people. I mean, I really like Nigerians, and everyone has been very warm, very hospitable. It's a beautiful country, and I think beautiful people. And it's just been a delight being here.
Wonderful, and we wouldn't like you to go back. You just got to move on with your career. But you've been married to a lovely lady, Donis, in the last 7 years now.
Oh, gee. The last 32 years.
Good.
Yes.
And that must
I think I got that right.
that must
Yes.
mean that you both know each other, like the palm. And we, on this program, we have a game that we put up between couples to try and see how much of each other they know.
I see.
And to also try and promote that aspect in marriages and relationships. We would think that, husband and wife, partners should know each other well. That way they can relate better. So we have a list of questions that we'd like you to answer. It has to do with both of you. It's going to revolve around just both of you.
I see.
So you got to put your thinking cap and let's see if you'll fit the bill.
32 years is a long time. It may be hard to remember some of these things, but anyway.
Okay, let's see how it goes. First question I have here is, what can you remember about higher education? Name the primary, secondary, and tertiary schools that she attended.
Primary schools were attended in Tuskegee, Alabama, which is the place where my wife grew up. She grew up basically with her grandmother. Her grandmother was a school teacher. She taught math and science, and Donis grew up there. And it's a small town in Alabama, a very famous town. We won't go in, we don't have enough time to go into the history of it.
Okay.
But she attended school there, high school as well in Tuskegee, and we actually met at Spelman College. I was a student at Morehouse College. She was a student at Spelman. These two schools are historically black colleges in Atlanta, Georgia, and very famous schools. One is all male, one is all female.
Would you do us a favor of the names of these schools?
Morehouse College is the college that I attended, and she attended Spelman College, which is right across the street.
Okay. Now, can you remember what age she was when you married her, and whether this event happened? And name one special thing that stuck out of all the special things that happened that day, which would be the best that you remember.
I'm just going to tell you, I'm not going to try to calculate this, but I think she was 24. And I was about the same age. No, I must have been a little older. So she must have been about 23. And the thing that about the wedding or the marriage,
The marriages.
we were married in Tuskegee. It was a church wedding. Lots of people, lots of friends. I remember having not gotten very much sleep the night before because I was out with some male friends of mine that evening.
Must have been the one we call the Bachelor's Eve.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We were out very late. The next day was wonderful. I remember the colors, and it was a very simple kind of ceremony with family, friends. My father was there. My mother was deceased, but my father and all of my siblings were there, and it was absolutely magnificent.
Okay.
So we had lots and lots of family.
Okay.
Her family was there, and we had a very nice church reception. But after, there was a reception at her godmother's home, and we all gathered out on the balcony of her home, and it was just a very pleasant event.
Good. All right. Then let me take you
These
back
are
in
tough
time.
questions, Barry.
Let me take you back in time.
Yes.
What was the very first car that you bought? What was the make of the very first car that you had, and the registration number? And
The registration number.
Yeah, and your working career. Where did it start? Which means what companies you work with then? Initially, when you start in life. The make of the car, registration number, the very first car that you rode.
Well, I'm going to go back because I was fortunate enough to have, I had a car both in high school and in college.
Okay.
And the car that I had in college was a gift from my parents.
Okay.
And actually, I sort of turned that into a moneymaker because, you know, my friends would sometimes rent the car from me or take them places, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the car that I had in college. But the first car that we had after marriage was a green Volkswagen Beetle. And one of the things that I remember is driving this car from Tuskegee, Alabama to Washington, D.C., which is where we settled. And it was just packed with wedding gifts. So one couldn't really see out of the back windscreen.
Okay. Now this will be the final one. Let me let you have the hook, like they say. Bring her in so to see if she
Okay.
yeah.
I hope I do better on this one.
What events would you describe as the most testing for you as a couple, and your happiest times throughout the 32 years of marriage?
The most testing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's
shook the fabric of the marriage
uh-huh.
to its very foundation, and the one that you were very happy about, the happiest so far. Two major events. The lowest and the highest.
The lowest and the highest. Well, obviously, we have two children. And certainly the highest point was the birth of our two children.
Okay.
And I have one daughter who is now an adult. And she was born in Africa. She was born in Swaziland. And we were in Mozambique at the time. And our goal was that we would have this child in Mozambique. That didn't quite work out, so we went to Swaziland, and my wife didn't deliver when we thought, so I had to come back to Mozambique. So I was going between Mozambique and Swaziland for about over a month. And but my daughter finally arrived, and we thought that our child would be a male. We thought we'd have a boy. We didn't have names for a girl. And it took us almost a week to sort of decide what to name this child. And thanks to some very good Tanzanian friends of mine, we decided on the name Malaika, which in Swahili, of course, means angel. And that's just what she is.
You haven't heard of the low moments? If you don't think of any, there haven't been any low moments. Let's also know.
Well, we all have low moments. Whenever we lose members of our family, and inevitably that happens, that's always a very low period. And there have been moments of separation. Given our business, we can't always be together as a family.
That's true.
So I would say that generally, and there have been several occasions on which we've been separated, Those have been probably the low moments for the family.
Well, I'd like to thank you very much. You haven't fared badly. If you sit back and watch the tape, the recording of this, you'd realize that you've done well. You've acquitted yourself creditably, and I only hope that your wife will match this.
I hope she
will
does.
Compliment this.
I hope so.
So we're waiting now to receive Mrs. Donis Howard Jetta, the wife of the outgoing ambassador of the United States in Nigeria. We'll be right back. And now here comes the lovely wife, without which the equation would be balanced. Mrs. Donis Howard Jetta.
Thank
Hello,
you.
man.
Very nice to meet you.
My pleasure
Thank
to be
you
here
for
again.
having us.
We do something to our couples when they come here. We do not like them to limit salutations between each other to handshakes. So how do you do that to him?
Okay.
Wonderful. What he would miss about Nigeria. Let me also ask you that. You're going up to 2.5 years.
I'll miss the people. Everybody's been wonderful. I'll miss the people.
You look every inch a Nigerian. Have you been accosted and told such questions in the streets?
Yes, I've been told that since 1979, our first trip out, we were in Mozambique, and someone called and asked to speak to the African American with the Nigerian wife.
I like that.
They call the embassy.
Yeah,
They call the embassy.
Nigerian.
Yes, it was a Mozambican who just assumed, and then the German chargé said, "What part of Nigeria are you from?" So I've been constantly told that I'm from Nigeria.
Now let us go over the questions. He told me you've been married in the last 32 years.
Yes.
Blessed with 2
You
children.
remember?
Yeah. Now the question I started with was to try to ask him if he knows anything about your education. I mean, how you started out from primary, secondary, and tertiary, and he gave us all the names and so on. Would you like to recount so we can balance with his own answers to this question?
I did elementary school in Alabama, Tuskegee, Alabama, and some in Cocoa, Florida. The rest was in high school, was Tuskegee Institute, Alabama.
Okay.
And then I went to Spelman College in Atlanta, where I met him.
I said, what age did he marry you? And what would you remember about that event? When did it happen? And
If I told you that, then you figure out my age. So he's told
But he
me
already told us.
Oh, shame.
Yes.
Okay, so we got married. We've been married 32 years, and I was about 23.
he got it exactly that. And I must say that you're not looking 55 at all.
Oh, thank you. Well,
You're taking very good care of her.
Really? Great.
She's doing the same thing to you.
But I look every bit my age, I'm sure.
You look younger than your age, in fact, because I mean, it's complimentary. Then I was asking if there was any other event that happened that you remember of. Let's talk out, actually.
about
The wedding. That same day that you had this wedding.
oh well, the one thing that looking back on it, everybody and looking at pictures, there was a mix-up in the trousers. So his pants were too short, and his cousins were too long. And I guess it was a time I looked at the photographs, and all of the women had on hair pieces, and they were all shuffled during the day. So those are the two things.
I asked him the very first car that he bought, the make of the car, the registration number of the car, and his very first work when he was starting his career. Where did he first work?
Well, let me do the car first because I can remember the car. He had a green Beetle, and I think it was a '68. That was the first car. But yeah, he was in the Bureau of Ocean, Environment, and Scientific Affairs.
Okay. Which would you call your best cuisine of all the local cuisines you've been accustomed to in the last 2.5 years here?
My favorite is actually jollof rice and plantains.
How about you, Mom?
I like the draw soup and pounded yams. So,
Were you taught to prepare it by anybody? Did you actually ask to be taught to prepare it? The pounded yam, no?
no, because In Alabama, we like yams and sweet potatoes, so that was a easy one for me to do.
Okay. Well, I wanted to thank you very much and wish you all the best. And where are you going from here, sir?
Back to Washington.
Okay.
And we'll decide what we do once we get
From there.
Yes.
Let me congratulate you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Pleasure being
We should
with
join
you.
the masses.
Thank you very
and
much.
Nigerians will
Very kind.
not forget
We
you.
will not forget you either. We'll be
Thank
back.
you. Thank you very
Definitely.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
very much.
so much.